And we are live, Beena.
Hello and welcome to Morning's Culture. Good morning, Syl. Good morning, Brain. Good morning, everyone who is going to join us live and will watch us recorded later. You all are most welcome to the Morning's Culture and the Morning's space we have for you. Of course, it is open for me, so I'm just extending this invitation for everyone because Syl has created this space for us where we can be not only ourselves, but we can be more and we can aspire to be more. This is a place where you can actually see that how the world does not work, we assume it does. This is
Yes.
exactly
The
what
way
happens
we
every
assume it does. Yeah,
the
yeah.
way it does because most of the time, mostly we have this idea that okay, oh, this is how things are. Oh, this has to be like this. It should be like this. But and because of this, we always have some limited perspective. But then every single time when I experience a different or a new and a fresh perspective on it, I realize that I was assuming the world works in a certain way, but actually
Yeah,
not, because every time, every single time when a person come up with a new perspective, it shows and it proves that my perspective was limited. It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
negative, because okay, it was good at that time, but every single time whenever you will hear or experience a
Yeah,
new perspective, this is the proof that my idea of that how the world works, no, no, actually not. There is always more, and this is what we share, this is what we have, this is what we enjoy every single day here in lives. Yes, also we are going to share this in our bonus show.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a TV show
Oh,
we
yeah.
have, and I'm very blessed and very fortunate to have this opportunity because I can
Yeah.
be with Syl on this show, and there we will have more precise, more curated, like more how to say that,
Focused. Yeah.
focused. Yes,
Focused.
more
Focused. Yeah.
focused. Yes, more focused on it. We are focused here, but this is a space of moreness. This is where we go just above and beyond and still share a lot of context also, which is
Yeah.
100% appropriate because this type of reading, which we are doing nowadays, requires a lot of context to understand what was going
Yeah.
on and what is happening right now. So to understand things in more depth, we need to have context also, and so provide
Exactly.
such an amazing context for this thing. What we are doing nowadays, we are busy doing capital R reading of Carlos Castaneda's book about
Castaneda. Yeah. Yeah.
Castaneda's books about Don Juan, and
Yeah.
we are busy doing capital R reading of book 2 here. And this the capital R reading process is really a profound concept from way of impeccability and the Modus project.
Mm.
I always include both because it actually connected to both. I know it is initially from the capital way of impeccability, but I feel that it is part of Mourners culture because we go above and beyond and we like really we go to the Mourners. So that's why I
Oh, yeah.
always include Mourners
Oh, yeah.
project into this, that it is from that. The
Oh,
capital
yeah.
R reading is not just reading what has been said, but it is also trying, and it's an effort, it's an intent to connect with the intent of what has been shared for what particular reasons. And of course,
Yes.
the connect with the
Yes.
an intent of the author, connect with the intent of course, the universe, and also
Yes.
the context. And
Yes. Yes.
reading beyond the words is something,
Yes.
is not a guessing game that oh, I'm assuming that this is what might be happening. No,
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
make connections, vital, valid connections to everything that what he has been sharing before. And
Yes.
now, if the person is introducing, the author is introducing a new concept, does it make connection with the previous one? Which means that
There
it's
you
a valid.
go. Connections. Very, very
Yes,
important. Because we are dealing
yes,
with conceptionality. And
yes,
conceptions are connected, right? They don't exist in
exactly,
isolation. All right, so
exactly.
Bina, let's get going and just let me just get started on TikTok. And we
Yes.
got TT going, and we'll just minimize, and we'll continue reading where we were,
Oh,
yesterday. We,
before
we,
before
we
we
were
go,
things. Yeah.
okay, before we go,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
shared with me that that Joseph, hello Joseph,
right.
by the way, I'm assuming. that you are here.
Is Joseph here?
Okay. And Joseph asked some questions, so I don't know what they are. Uh,
Yes, yes. I want to find that, and yeah, I asked. Well, he commented on yesterday's live. He was watching it later on the replay,
okay. Okay.
and so he made a lot of comments, and I responded. But he asked a question there specifically of you, so I'll
Okay.
find that, and then we'll go and see, and then we'll go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
And
I
Joseph,
did send
if you are here,
Joseph an
please.
invite.
Okay. Yes. If Joseph, you are here, please. Okay. I know that I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe I'm inviting the trouble for myself that, okay, maybe the question is going to be very difficult, but I don't know. I assume that
No,
it
I
will be
don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think
no,
so.
but it is something like, okay, I always feel a bit of excitement whenever I have very direct questions that,
Yeah,
okay, yes. But I also feel very, very privilege also because it's a big thing
yeah,
that someone is asking you a
yeah,
question. It means that they are paying attention, they are showing interest, and this is something I always appreciate and very grateful of. So yes, I don't know the question,
yeah,
but okay.
yeah, yeah.
I hope, Joseph, you will be nice with me, polite with me.
Gentle, gentle, gentle.
Gentle,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
gentle, gentle,
All
gentle.
right, all
Yes,
right, all
okay.
right, all right. So we'll pause those questions. I have them ready there. I pulled up the yesterday's post. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
the replay. So they're there. They're there. And as soon as Joseph comes on, we'll do it. If he doesn't come today, then we'll catch him tomorrow. It's not a problem. So. Right. I mean, Joseph always comments when he comes on, and I've got oh, he's here. Joseph is here. All right, very good. All right, brilliant,
Okay.
brilliant, brilliant. All right, let me screen share and then we go through this. Screen
Okay.
share.
Hello,
Okay,
Joseph.
brilliant. So, yes, hello, Joseph. So Joseph first said, let's see. Oh, I got to go from the other way, from the bottom. Quiet patience, such a powerful word. Girls just want to have fun. I'm not sure exactly what that means too, but all right. Detached and with quiet patience, we move deliberately towards the abyss. And then Joseph carries on to say that Joseph said that. And Joseph says, the abyss of our death, or as we define it in the Native American world, the great mystery. Yes, yes, yes. It
Mm.
is a great mystery. It's a wonderful thing.
Oh, yes.
Transitioning, I prefer to call it transitioning rather than death because death is so over the aeons. The word is associated very firmly with an ending and with loss and with negativity, but really it's a transition.
Oh,
Yeah, you're
yes.
transitioning into
Yes.
something else. Who knows what exactly?
Yes.
But when you think of it
Yes.
as a transition, it changes your entire mindset, right? It's not this
Mm.
great unknown, which people are, it's a moreness, and you're transitioning into moreness. It's like wonderful, all right. So
Just, just,
the
just to
answer
just
to,
to give
yeah,
a bit, just a minute. So, just for Joseph, because I don't know that I have shared with him before or not. Um, in
yeah.
in in the Islamic concept, there is no concept or even a word for death. We only have a word transition, which we call it
Oh, I didn't
intiqal.
know that, Beena. I did not know that.
I shared with you.
Wow.
No, I shared with you, I
I
guess.
know, but I didn't stick in my brain. It didn't stick
Okay.
in my brain.
Okay. So we don't
I would
have.
imagine you've told me this. That's
Yes.
fantastic. Wow,
Oh, we
wow,
don't
wow,
have we
wow.
don't have a concept of death, like really finishing it up. No, we only have a
Wow,
word which is
wow.
like transition, which is in
I love
Urdu.
that.
It's
I
the word is
love that.
intiqal,
I
which
love
is like
that.
transition. So that
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
only this. Okay.
All
Yes.
right, Bina, you read
Yes.
Joseph's comment there because this is the one for you. So this one,
Oh,
yeah, in
okay.
a real life.
Okay. In a real life hypothetical situation, I wonder how Bina would feel is a man she
If.
loved if a man she loved did not respond to her with desire. Wow. Without craving, with detached patience, I'd love to hear the actual answer her heart gives her. Okay,
Okay,
this
so,
is yes. Okay, I can answer that. It's not that difficult. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you. Thank you for
uh,
asking me so simple question. Because I would be really freaked out if I would not have the actual concept or the clarity about the detachment. concept, I was really irritated with the concept of detachment from the Zen thing, Zen philosophy. I was like, seriously, what you guys are talking about? And we do also have in the Asian culture, like yogis and of course um, other concept like okay in Islam also some people have this thing, and I was like, no, this is something I don't relate with completely. So I was like, no. But when I got the understanding of detachment, like now Don Juan is saying exactly what I was feeling, that to not negate who you are. If that is the concept with absolute clarity of detachment, I would love to be with that person, because this is something I was struggling with this. Like it was in the beginning, like maybe 3 years ago, I can say that. And my friend Alan, and he was sharing a lot of Zen things, and I said it really irritates me, Alan. And he was like, okay, because you're a child now. But actually, no, I was not a child. I was not getting this idea of detachment, which was like, no, it doesn't
Excuse
make
me.
any sense. But
Now,
also I would say that if a person doesn't have the sense of understanding of detachment, that will be a problem for me.
yeah, yeah,
That will be a
yeah,
big
yeah.
problem for me, because
Very much so.
when people have this clinginess, and when people have this
There you
controlling thing,
go. There
this
you go.
controlling everything, because when they try to control things, when they don't have understanding of detachment, real
Yeah,
detachment, capital D detachment, then they try to
yeah.
control everything. And of course I will also be included in that, and I would never ever
Exactly.
agree on this thing that okay,
Exactly.
someone would try
Exactly.
to control everything, every
Yeah,
aspect of
yeah,
my life
yeah,
and their life
yeah,
also, and life in
yeah,
general.
yeah,
So for me, it will be a big problem if a person will not
yeah,
have
yeah,
this standing of capital D detachment. So for me, it's
yeah.
very clear. It's like, duh, yes. I
Let-
know
let- uh,
that it's a problem. The problem is that, okay, very, very few people so far in my understanding, in my awareness, very few people have this understanding, but I'm not going to compromise on that. This is something very
yes,
clear in my
yes,
mind,
yes,
like
yes, yes,
self-honesty,
yes.
if you are self-honest, you cannot be a clingy person, you cannot be an
Exactly.
obsessive person. If you
Exactly.
have
Exactly.
self-honesty, then
Exactly.
you cannot. And if you have
Exactly.
trust, which we say that the world it revolves around, like based on trust,
Trust. Right.
not
It's
not
trust
with
that makes
love.
the world go round.
Okay.
Right.
From
It's
the
trust.
teenage, from
Exactly.
the early teenage, Joseph,
Right.
my idea of having any kind of relationship, people, my like okay, in my culture, all the girls, my cousins, elder cousins, they were talking about these things, and they always say that, oh, that I should have okay, the only thing I want is love. And I was like, really, I was like
Yeah.
puzzled with that how can you be like with someone who only love you and don't respect you? So for me, that was the
Mm.
first criteria I had, that it has to be the respect, mutual respect. Okay, yes, as I grow, okay, a lot of things come. But now I understand more that yes, when you have trust, it is a different form of actually uh, trusting each other. It's a different form of,
Yes.
sorry,
And it's a
respect
form
each
of
other.
appreciation and respect.
Yes,
Correct.
yes,
Exactly.
yes. So now the impeccability encapsulated, if I really have to encapsulate everything into that, impeccability is a big
Yeah.
deal in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not being idealistic. Okay, I know that people are, yes, okay, very few people so far in my understanding, but I'm not hopeless, and I'm not like really, oh, it's not going to happen. No, if I can be, I need to trust that other people can be also. So this is, I always take my
Yeah. Yeah.
example. If
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can be like this, then other people also. So I do trust people. And of course, the only thing I have seen so far which really keep your relationship, any kind of relationship, intact, not the only thing, okay, one of the most important things, sorry, I need to correct it. One of the most important thing to keep your relationship intact and really thrive is in in any relationship, when two people grow together. Growing together is a big deal. If
Yeah.
one person is very, very far away in any way, like okay, maybe far ahead or far before and long behind, then it's a problem. If people are growing together
Yeah.
and it's really a thriving relationship. It can be, at least this is so far my understanding. Just to give you a one more clarification, that I have never been in any relationship like this, and I'm thinking of course I want to, but I'm not desperate. No,
There's the
I'm
key.
not desperate.
There's the key.
Yes.
You cannot be desperate when it comes to relationships,
Oh
because
yes.
desperation is going to be attachment, right? All right. Now
Yes.
let's get into this, right? Why is detachment, this conception, not in the language of conceptuality? Because detachment has loads and loads and loads of baggage. It's typically actually misunderstood. First of all, we assume detachment means cold and passionless and joyless.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
no, that's not accurate, right? That's not. Attachment means non-attachment, right? Which attachment, when you understand this, and especially with desire and craving, which you mentioned, those are possessiveness. If I desire something, I want to possess it. Yeah.
Oh
Now,
yes.
now, when we understand non-attachment rather than detachment, let's just use non-attachment, because detachment has all that baggage of cold and sterile and emotionless. No, when I'm not attached, it, as Beena said, it's I'm not possessive, I'm not needy, yes, I'm not dependent. That is essential for relationships. But here's the crucial point: detachment does not mean passionless or joyless. Not in the least. Because I'm not, I mean, let's just take an example of, I'll just say for me personally, right? I can absolutely enjoy somebody and have lots of passion, but not be attached. Because I'm not needy, I'm not desperate, I'm not craving, I'm not desiring, but that doesn't mean I cannot enjoy. Yes? I don't crave
Hmm.
and enjoy sunshine or the air or nature or trees or anything, but boy, do I love them. Absolutely. I get great joy. Or every day I get great joy out of the trees. It never stops, yeah. And just everything, just the world. So this is a very, very key understanding, to make sure that we understand that not being attached, which is that almost a greediness, right? But it's a possessiveness and an owning and a controlling, as Beena said, and dependency and neediness and all the stuff. That's what attachment really is, yes? And to not be attached means we are free. And very, very crucial. You say, yeah, but you're not a unit, you're not a pair. You can absolutely be a unit and a pair. Yes, you can absolutely be this, but you also retain your independence of being. I would never, ever, ever want to do to somebody I love. I would never want to have my hooks into them where they aren't free to go. That's one of the worst things I could ever do to somebody. And if I truly love somebody, this is absolutely out of the question. And later on in the comments, Joseph mentioned something about me and my love relationships. I was in a relationship for a very long time, and there came a time when the person in the relationship said they have to go on their own path, and I this is great, no problem. And
Oh yes.
my personal likes were totally irrelevant. I wished them well, and I even supported them as much as I could. Initially, I supported them when we weren't together, and later when I could support them, I did. Later, I wasn't able to. It was one of those periods where I had a dip, and I was doing the course and building it and all that, so I wasn't making any income as such. I still did a little bit of support as much as I could, right, at my expense. But that
Yes.
doesn't matter, because the point is that if you love somebody, truly love them, you wish the best for them. My desires are not there. They're not a part of it. To some degree, yes, but I cannot put my desires ahead of their joy. That's not love. That's attachment. That's possessiveness. That's not good, right? So the key point here is, though, that doesn't take out passion or joy. No, you can enjoy things without craving them. Like I said, I mean, I love trees. I get incredible joy out of trees. but I don't have any desire for the tree or craving for the tree, or just in food in general. I enjoy whatever I eat. I don't crave anything particularly, you know. So it's a different way of relating to the world, and it's a great freedom to be able to enjoy without craving and desire. It is an incredible freedom. And when you have this in a relationship, this is the most fantastic thing. You know, I mean, Beena knows if tomorrow she wants to stop interacting with me, she's completely and utterly free to do that. Right, Beena?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
How can it be any other way? But this is the point, though. See, in when we get really down to it, what are most relationships premised on? Insecurity.
Hmm.
That's the root for most relationships. People get together because they're insecure on their own, and they want the other person in the partnership to fulfill their insecurity. It doesn't work. Does not work. Does not work. So why relationships, for the most part, have troubles because people don't have independence of being. A true relationship requires independence of being. Only then can you truly, fully relate without baggage, without needing something from the other, without binding them, without holding them down with you and your clinging to them, your hold on to them, your need to bolster your insecurity and all this, right? That's it. Absolutely crucial. So when we take this word detachment and understand it a little bit deeper and remove it from this misassociation of passionless and joyless, it changes everything. I mean, when we truly start to experience joy is when we let go. Then we can have be freedom, because when we are craving, we are desiring. Uh, it's a limited bubble that you're in, and it pulls you into that bubble, and it subverts the true joy because you're needy in some way. Needy, desperate, clingy, whatever, all of those negative things. And it doesn't matter with what, doesn't just apply to relationships, applies just to life in general. So when we have this non-attachment, which I much prefer to detachment, because detachment has so much baggage. That's why you almost never hear me use this word, even non-attachment. Why focus on the negative when rather focus on moreness? That's the focus. Moreness. Moreness is completely filled with joy, appreciation, respect, like Beena says, trust, capital T trust, impeccability, integrity, honesty. When you have these as qualities, and my number one rule for relationships, no expectations, no obligations, which is complete non-attachment, right? I don't even use that term. I just say, number one rule, no expectations, no obligations. Obviously, the obligations is as much as possible, right? And you want to set up your things where you don't feel obliged, because the moment we feel obliged, all joy goes from things, right? We don't really care for doing things because we're obliged to do them. Yes,
Yes.
some people, they can get it. They can get a sense of duty, and it can work for them. But in general, again, it's you have to take it in context, obviously. But certainly, there are no expectations, right? When we have that, we don't expect from our partners, our friends. It gives them a freedom to be whoever they want to be. And Beena was just talking about this morning, unrelated. She was saying how, right, your self-conception has changed, and you have a great freedom now to be whoever you want to be, right?
Yes.
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 All right. So I hope that clears it up, Joseph. I think there were more things. Yeah. And he's saying her. He's hypothetical. Thank you for treating me with your detachment. I love the way you detached from me and my life with you. Yes. Again, detachment. Right. That's why such a baggage term, Joseph. It doesn't mean that we aren't involved, we aren't connected. It just means we're not clingy. We're not holding on. We're not grabbing. We're not trying to be possessive. Yeah, and we're not needy. We're not desperate. All of that. Right? So when you look at it in that context, shift it. So to me, that's why I say this word detachment is very negative with a lot of baggage, and so I prefer not to use it because it's not really accurate. But when you think of it as, oh, I'm in a relationship and my partner's not needy, they're not clingy, they're not possessive, they're not dependent. Wow, thank you very much. Yes, I love it. This is absolutely fantastic. Again, none of that means they aren't passionate and joyful. No. Would you say I'm a non-passionate and non-joyful person, Beena?
You are. You are, definitely. Definitely, but it's a different thing.
Exactly.
This is something like, okay,
Oh,
thank you, Joseph, for bringing this up, actually. And of course, I would love to hear more about this, because this idea was
yeah,
really limiting. And I was almost, whenever
yeah,
someone talk about detachment as a divine idea and philosophy, I always feel like, okay, suffocation right there, that, okay, how can it be? No, I was assuming myself that I
yeah,
cannot be
yeah.
on this, like, okay, yes, in this spiritual understanding and all that, just
Right.
because of this idea, because this is the most important thing, that, oh, you have to detach yourself. But when I'm
Yeah,
reading, I'm reading in a different way, because do the monks,
yeah.
they stop eating everything? No, they still do that, of course. And I saw that,
Exactly.
okay, so they have very beautiful choices. One as a
Right.
chef, they
Right.
really masterfully they are doing that,
So
and they do
I
have
blame
things.
Siddhartha.
But yes,
Okay, I'm sorry.
okay.
Sorry, carry on.
Oh,
Carry on.
yes. So and also the other people, it is just a different choice.
Yeah,
It is just a different choice you're making. They are still making choice, even when they are not
yeah,
choosing. And that was the real click for me. When I heard
yeah.
about, when I was reading Way of Impeccability, doing Way of Impeccability, and it was like, okay, even when you are not making a choice, it is a choice. That, okay, I'm not choosing. When you are not choosing, it's also a choice. And this is something
Right.
really need to understand when they are talking about that, oh, I'm just getting rid of all the desire. Even your desire to be a monk is a desire in itself, and it's a choice you are making.
Exactly. Exactly. And that was my point why I blame Siddhartha. Right?
Yes. So
Because Siddhartha Gautama said the
yes,
Four Noble Truths, all about desire being the problem. It's not desire that's the problem, it is inappropriate desire that's the issue. You desire to
exactly.
be enlightened, you desire to get to nirvana. That's appropriate desire. Yeah. So it's inappropriateness and appropriateness, that's the issue. Yeah. Beena,
And
I want
also,
to just get,
yes.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. No, go ahead, go ahead,
Okay,
go ahead. I
just
don't
a
want to.
minute. Yeah, and also I feel personally sometimes that when uh, when people talk about these things, the ego, always you can feel that the ego, really high ego, is standing right on their
Yeah,
shoulders, like, okay, yes, because I am doing this because I'm different, I'm superior,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm this, I'm making this choice, and all these
Ah,
worldly
that's
things.
all
When
hierarchy
they,
stuff. Horrible.
exactly,
Yeah,
when they say that all this worldly desire, why not? Why not? I am a product of this world, this universe. I'm
yeah,
still
yeah,
breathing. I'm utilizing resources. I'm living. I'm drinking water. I'm living on this earth. I'm having all the seasons and everything. I'm still utilizing all these privileges of
yeah,
being on this planet and this in this world also. So why to
yeah,
negate
yeah.
it in such way that, oh, all these worldly desires is not for me? It is for you. You're still having all the blessings of this universe. So for me, I always, I'm not saying,
Exactly.
I'm not trying to criticize anything, but this is how I was feeling. How can we completely
Yeah,
detach
yeah.
of everything? Some people tried that. Some monks, some gurus, some really maharishis and
Doesn't
all
work. Yeah,
Sufis, they tried that. But if you read it in depth, and then you will realize that, like I was reading about
yeah,
Rumi, and when I was like, okay, it was a, okay, sorry to say, very very hierarchy and superiority paradigm right there. And again, they were not negating everything; they were just making different choices, and everything is a choice. So that's why I really love when Don Juan says that, okay, negating yourself is not something. And I was like, wow, now a person is talking some sensible thing, and I
mm,
don't know how people miss that. He is saying that, okay, no, don't negate yourself. I'm not saying denying. He was using the word denying yourself and try to be something else. I
yeah, yeah.
cannot be anything else completely, entirely, when I am already a human being. I am a
There you
human
go.
being
Yeah, yeah,
with limitations, with some specific abilities. I can, of course, leverage it. Unfortunately, my awareness is growing much rapidly than my physical existence in this world. We still
Yes,
get
yeah,
affected by all the weathers and all the other things and all that. But my awareness is, yes, of course, as a human
yes,
being. I'm not
yes,
calling about
yes,
myself. I'm saying that as human
yes,
for everyone, our awareness is really growing rapidly. But the evolution
yeah.
is not working for us physically. That's why we have limitations and some
We're
specific.
behind. We're behind.
Yes, we are behind.
Yes,
Physically, we are behind.
yes, yes,
But
yes.
I
And
do, but it is part
hmm,
of me. So we have to
yeah,
accept it in totality and create a balance
yeah,
between both the spiritual side and the physical
right.
side. The balance is the key. Key for me.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. And Joseph goes on to say there. I wasn't quite sure on your first comment there. I didn't quite understand it, but but the later ones, you're saying I'm attached to the earth, and I'm detached too. To be attached and detached in the time as is appropriate, or rather when it is appropriate.
Yes,
Exactly. Everything comes
exactly.
back to appropriateness. This is the core of the entire A plus philosophy and way of impeccability, mourners culture, everything. It's all founded on the philosophy of appropriateness as a philosophy. Right? And when we look at appropriateness, obviously we've got to look at it in the universal context, in all contexts, from our inner context to in time, right, as well. So we want to have this appropriateness, like capital A appropriateness. Absolutely. So is it appropriate to be clingy? No. Is it appropriate to have hooks into somebody, to be controlling and dependent and all that? No, no, not at all. Right? And that's the key. Is it appropriate to have passion? Absolutely. Now, when I said I blame Siddhartha, I blame him and his followers. Because, first of all, when he made the Four Noble Truths, he did not say inappropriate desire. Right? That's number one. Secondly, his followers misunderstood this removing from desire as being passionless and joyless. When Siddhartha himself, Siddhartha Gautama, yeah, we know as the Buddha, but that's the individual. He was known for his passions. He was a very passionate person even after becoming the Buddha. That's why you see the statues of him as a fat man. He enjoyed life,
Hmm.
right? He was not
Yes.
passionless. He was detached,
Yes.
yes. He was not attached. Again, I don't want to use this word detached. He was non attached. Yeah, he didn't have desire, but he had joy, he had passion. Very important to understand that we can have joy and passion without desire and craving. And to be want to be desired and craved, this is something from superiority paradigm. It's an ego issue. Oh, I must be desired and craved. Yeah, that gives us a sense of importance and oh, I'm worthy, I'm valuable, and all this. No, this is a pure ego thing. Think rather, am I enjoyable? Of course you are. Well, you may have a lot of nonsense that makes you unenjoyable, right? Well, then sort it, clean out the nonsense. But if you are needy, well, it's very hard to enjoy needy people. Sorry. Yeah, and dependency and clinginess and or insecurity and all that. It's difficult. It can be done, but it takes a lot of work and energy. Yeah? So realize that, work on yourself so that if you enjoy yourself, if you're not desperate, you're not needy, you're not clingy, then you're enjoyable. Life is easy. We can enjoy pretty
Still,
much anything.
yes. You were saying something today in the morning. You were saying about doctors, or maybe yesterday you were sharing that doctors used to like really get irritated with when they say that okay, and he was being called mad when a person suggests that they should wash their hands, and
Oh, it's
that
the
would
guy who started the first doctor who said to the whole medical industry about
yes,
germs and infection and that you need to
yes,
wash your hands and be scrupulous. They laughed at him and scorned him and they pushed him out of the medical community and he died a pauper. It was the most horrible, tragic story. And then later on, of course, it's got to be accepted. Yes, this guy. Yeah, what about him?
yes. So when you were saying that, I was like, okay, we don't apply these the same understanding, same basic uh, understanding, basic sensibility to spirituality. When we
Yeah.
started something, when people were starting something, and they were testing and trying, and they were like, okay, yes, maybe exaggerating, maybe doing very little, who knows. But as the awareness is growing, and then now we have to be more sophisticated in the spirituality also. So why not, like, okay, maybe
Yes,
Buddha
yes,
was trying. Once he was
yes.
really a fat guy who was showing that, okay, he was in all the worldly temptations and everything, and he was enjoying that. And then later on he become
Yeah,
like really a skeleton, almost a skeleton. So he was doing that because he was testing and trying. We need to respect that,
yeah,
but
yeah,
also we need to understand that we don't need that because he already done this thing for us.
yeah,
Now we
yeah,
have to find a
yeah.
fine balance between all these things.
There you go.
So
There
we,
you
we
go.
have to
There
take
you
it
go.
as a basic foundation that, okay, yes, they provided. Now I'm going to, okay, do more into it. I'm going to add more into it, and find a like fine balance. This is very interesting for me, that we do like, okay, yes, oh, the 1,000 years ago, but not thousand, but okay, 100 years ago, what the surgeon was saying is not valid anymore. It was a basic thing, but
Yeah.
we do the same thing, we follow the basic of it, and be more sophisticated in it. And then yes, you can see
Yes.
that
Yes.
medical industry or medical field is doing
Yes.
wonders now. They were not able
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
People were getting blind just because
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Exactly,
cataract.
Beena.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
So why not the
Let's.
same rule
Oh,
applies to
okay.
spirituality? Why not the same rule applies
Exactly.
to spirituality?
Exactly. Exactly. Joseph, yes, few blanket statements. That's why you'll hear Beena and I very seldom say, almost never, actually never. We don't express things as absolutes. Yeah. And if we listen very carefully, you'll hear say, for me, in my opinion, even if we don't necessarily always say that, it's very much implied, right? Because this is our default. We're sharing our perspective. It's not an absolute, right? And that's very important, right? To not share absolutes because, like you say, very few things are absolute. That's why appropriateness is so brilliant as a philosophy, because appropriateness is the one thing that's always appropriate. I'm not just being funny. It's true, right? It is.
Yes.
That's the magic of appropriateness, because appropriateness is a variable. It depends. It depends on context. It depends on goals, motivations, desires, and intents. Right? It depends. It's fluid. So you do what's appropriate depending on what you want and depending on the situation. Right? Yeah. It's not really a paradox. Joseph says the current conversation can be understood better in the context of paradox. Yeah, it's not a true paradox, but a little bit. You know what I call them? Coexisting contradictions. And it's very powerful to understand. And what a coexisting contradiction, it's only apparently so. It's really that we assume the things are being applied in the same context. But when you realize that the contexts are different, then something can apply in one context and not apply in another context. And they don't actually contradict. They can coexist, right? Because they coexist in different contexts, both physical and time, right? Or conceptual. It doesn't matter. All right. So Joseph wanted to read more of the comments from yesterday, right? And
Mhm.
again, this comment here, you were imagining what Beena might say, right? And this one
Mhm.
about treat me appropriately and share and stating your deep love for me in an inappropriate way. There's no such thing. To be detached doesn't mean that you can't state your deep love, uh, right? I mean,
Oh.
Beena, I just know for myself. I certainly practice this, not being needy, not being desperate, and everything. But I state my deep love every single day. Yes,
Yes, but I understand that he's talking about, like, okay, in specific
I
relationship,
do.
that
But
might be the situation.
it's
Okay, but let
yeah,
me let
yeah,
me say
yeah,
something. Okay, so the idea is
yeah,
that, okay, we do have a confusion between a romance and a love. This is the problem. Okay, they are two different things for me, very very clearly.
yeah,
Romance is different,
yeah.
and love is different. You can love with like someone
Correct.
really deeply, and you can still be very serious, very earnest person, and you can love someone. Having a romantic relationship and being in, like, okay,
Yeah,
doing a romance is a different thing. So this is the understanding. If you're saying that, okay, I'm not into, like, okay, I'm saying that, okay, not into a romance, or I don't like this. No. Yes, I would love to. Yes, definitely. but it doesn't mean that it is going to just compensate for the love, because romance is different and love is
Right.
different.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
I would
Right.
love to have both together. Of course, in a relationship, this is the ideal situation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is a different thing to understand. Yes, a
Yeah.
person can be completely detached and still be romantic and still can love. This is something I can do. I'm not clingy. I'm not going
Yes.
to be sneaky and like really
Correct.
on his
Correct.
nerves all the time.
Detachment.
But
Yeah.
yes, so he can be himself. He can do whatever he wants to in okay, whenever he will be in my life. So then yes, I would give
Right.
complete freedom as
Right.
much as I can. But
Right.
still, I'll be romantic. I'll be in love.
And
Yes.
detachment is affording somebody freedom. The problem with this word detachment is that it's so deeply entrenched that it means cold and passionless and joyless. No, it does not. Yeah. So when you think of detachment as meaning clingy and desperate and needy and controlling and possessive and all of those things, if you take detachment to mean that, and when you remove that, so non-clinginess, non-possessiveness, right? If you make that association, oh wow, now I'm affording my partner the most absolute freedom I can, which is capital R respect. Yeah, it does not
Yes.
remove my passion. I enjoy them like crazy. I love them. I enjoy every ounce of them. But I'm not clingy. I'm not needy. I'm not desperate. I'm not possessive. See? So that's the key, Joseph, at least in the deeper understanding of this term. Detachment is non attachment. You're not a leech clinging on like a leech is attached. Yes? Sucking and it's desperate and it's needy. I mean, the leech,
Yes.
it's a parasite, right? And that's what we don't want to have parasitic relationships. So detachment means not being a parasite in your relationship, and nothing to do with being passionless or desireless. Or I mean, yes, desire, yeah, because desire is possession. I mean, passionless or joyless is the word I was looking for. Right. So Joseph goes on to say, let's read this whole thing here, right? I could have used myself or Syl for an example of my point. It would be so appropriate to do so, but I guess I don't have confidence Syl would allow the love relationships in his life to be under any kind of microscope. Absolutely the opposite, Joseph. I'm more than happy to put
Reiterate,
any. Yeah.
reiterate for
Go
me,
ahead.
please.
Oh, you mean just reread? That's the point there. Let me
No,
do
no,
the screen share.
just no, just say this in simple because I missed that. I'm not
Oh,
following. So
uh,
please, yes.
okay. So Joseph was taking this example of you having this hypothetical conversation with somebody that you love, right? To say, well, thank you for your detachment, but the love, and then he was saying, well, he would have used himself or me as an example, but he doesn't have confidence that I would allow my love relationships to be under any kind of microscope. And I just wanted to comment that this is absolutely not so, Joseph. I've written extensively about it. And I have absolutely not one single secret or hidden thing in my life. Everything about me, I'm very happy to put under the microscope. There's nothing I can't talk about. Nothing whatsoever. So, yeah, misunderstanding there. No, I'm more than happy. If you want to
Oh,
know
okay,
anything, just
okay,
ask. You know,
okay.
yes, an important point. Well, one second, Beena. I wanted to say,
Mm-hmm.
simply because I don't talk about things doesn't mean I don't want to. They're just not appropriate. I mean, there's no relevance to it, right? Not that it's inappropriate to talk about my love life. It just wasn't relevant. If it's relevant, I'll talk about it. Anything. If it's relevant and pertinent, I talk about it. If it's appropriate, I talk about it. It just doesn't come up, It's like, well, okay. It's not all that important. It doesn't really matter, right? Uh, yeah. Uh, so Joseph goes on to say, sorry, you were going to say, Beena? Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, okay, because I was assuming that the question was only for me. But this is something I have experienced, Joseph, with Syl. Okay, he is very open to discuss anything, literally anything. He's very open. Okay. On the other hand,
Yeah.
at least I don't know about with other people, but I'm a person who don't ask irrelevant questions. And with irrelevant is something like, okay, oh, what is your favorite color? or like, okay, what was happening in your life before?
Yeah.
These are irrelevant things for me, because I personally, I know
Yeah.
that it might be a bit controversial topic, but for me, if a person right now in communication with me, in interaction with me, if a person is sensible,
Yeah.
impeccable, I am not going to judge them by their previous acts, or their current acts also with other people. Because the
Yeah. Yeah.
appropriateness for me, that okay, like my mother, she would, of course, she's not going to hit me, or rob me or do anything. But this is for me. She's not going to do anything negative to me.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
is with me. My mother, as a person, who knows if she is like, okay, yes, a
Yeah.
very rude
Yeah.
person with others. She can be. She's not, but I'm saying that she can be. It's a potential. Okay.
Yeah.
So if she is a rude
Yeah.
person or a mean person, does it change my perception of her? In general, as a person, if someone will ask me, then I will say, like, okay, this is my understanding of her. She can be this. She has potential of this and this and this. But with me, she's all love. Everything is love.
Mm.
So this is the problem, that okay, I personally, I always think of people as who they are right now in this moment with me. I
Yeah.
have so
Yeah.
many friends. I used to have, okay, a friend who, she was an atheist, which is not a problem for me, but she was a super, super critical about all the spiritual and all the religious and
Yeah.
deities and all that. And she was always making really rude jokes about them, really insulting for me. Okay, I was thinking they are insulting. They were insulting. But we never had any problem with communication.
There you go.
And just before her death, she was talking about me with other friends. I'm a practicing
Mm.
Muslim. She was an atheist, not just an atheist, but also she was like really, really horrible making, horrible joke maker about
Yeah.
everything, everything. And we never had this thing. Okay,
But
I
you shifted her awareness of
have an
possibilities. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I also still right now in this moment I have a friend um, who is in all sort of activities involved, which people might consider as negative, like not so
Mm.
respectful, not even not negative, but not so respectful. And and of course in my culture it would be like, oh,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they will never ever like, okay, they
Yeah.
will look at
Yeah.
them as a weird personality or something. But this I the friend, as a friend, as a person with me in communication, amazing person, amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I, I have no right to judge anyone. That's why I don't
Yeah.
ask irrelevant question. If Joseph, like, okay, right now we are just Facebook friends. If we are friends, you will not find me asking any question or being bothered or even curious about anything about you. No, right now in this moment what we have, this is what important, this is what is appropriate. If you are appropriate with me, you are my friend, you are a wonderful person. Okay, I'm not going to pass this
Yeah.
statement as a generalized statement for you. I'm not going to advocate your activities. No, I would say this is my interaction, possibilities, potential. Yes, this is a different story. So
Yeah.
this is, for me, this is the definition of what people call detachment. I love
Well, I
them
love that, Joseph.
as my friends, like okay, anyone,
Yeah.
including
Yeah.
Syl, including you and everyone. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
them. And they are dear friends. As a person who they might be do like, okay, what they might be doing, that's a different thing. That's right there, detachment. I'm not going to say anything as a definite about them that, oh, they are wonderful people, they cannot do this. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
how would I know? Nope.
Uh, Yeah, yeah, exactly. Bina, I want to go back to some of the comments that Joseph asked. He wanted to
Oh,
talk more.
yes.
So yes, Joseph
Yes.
says today, he says, my curiosity knows no bounds, and I love that, Joseph. Yeah, me neither, Bina neither. All right, so to
Yes.
continue from this long comment that you made yesterday, right?
Yes.
Uh, to say, I could also put myself in the position I'm placing Bina in, but it would take more time than I have left in today's show. It would take some soul searching to even conceive of a real life spirit warrior into my life of love and relationships. I have met no such woman in my life to date. And although I have to believe such women exist, it would be an incredible occurrence to meet one in real life. Yes.
Oh yes. Oh
Now
yes.
I have a long story for you here, right?
Mm,
Since you brought up my love relationships, let's put this into a different context, and it will help your curiosity and also give you a different perspective on me, because I'm just different, and that just is what it is. It's no better, no worse, it just is. All right. So when I was a youth, I was a very lusty fellow, not in a negative way, but I had a great lust for life, right? And including lusty in the typical sense of the word. I had my first girlfriend when I was 10 years old. I was the only boy in the whole school, right, who had a girlfriend. It was just like completely out of the norm, right? I remember going to the school fair, walking around hand in hand with my girlfriend. Oh my God, this was like almost a scandal. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, Wendy was her name. A tall girl, taller than me. Anyway, so Wendy. And then
mm,
I'd either go, by the time I got to 12, that faded a bit, right? Well, not faded,
mm,
but I never had a girlfriend in high school. But at
mm,
age 12, I was camping at well, it's at the yacht club and neighboring with dinghy sailing, right? Anyway, staying over in my own little tent. I had incredible independence of being as a teenager. It's a very conservative society that I'm in, right? So just be aware. Me staying on my own in my own tent overnight in a different town, right? Camping there. This was unheard of. I was the only junior ever that I ever saw that did this, right? That stayed on my own anyway. Anyway, so I'm staying in my own tent, and as that goes with these things, there's the party on the Saturday night. You stay for the weekend. It's an inter competition between our club and their club, right? Anyway, and I was kind of a sailing prodigy, but anyway, so Saturday night the party, and then there's this very pretty girl, blonde hair. I remember still the way she looked, and I'm like very interested. We're dancing away, and of course, as a lusty young man, Joseph, most women don't always understand the lustiness of young men, but all right, as a man, I'm assuming you'll understand it nonetheless. So you have all these ideas and fantasies and stuff, and one of them was to have the girl come to my tent. And lo and behold, we're dancing, and she says, out of the blue, she says to me, "Let's go to your tent." Huh? This completely stopped me. Now, keep in mind, from age 6, I don't know if you heard the story before, I had my social side and I had my private side. The private side wasn't secret, but and the private side was where I was thinking about awareness and all of this stuff, right? So this was when I was age 12. This started at age 10, where I'm consciously focusing on awareness, and, I did all the thinking and learning and growing and applying and practicing and all this. So my social side, which was now involved with the girl, so when she says, "Oh, let's go to your tent," I'm like completely stopped. Now, now reality's catching up with idea. What do you think I did? I did not go to the tent. Yeah. There was a deeper side of me that knew, even though this was supposedly what I wanted, yeah, I'm getting, I said no, because I knew consequences and implications, right? So coexisting contradiction right there. Yeah, paradox. So, going through high school, I was aware that what I wanted did not really exist. Okay. And I remember for my 18th birthday, there was a girl which, okay, I got involved a little bitty. We went down to the beach and we made out a little bitty. And then, I don't know, she went down to swim in the water, and something about it just put me off. And when she came back, I didn't want to know anymore. Anyway, and she was super into me, right? For the rest of that year, she was super into me. And for my 18th birthday, she offered me her body, right? That was my birthday present in September, my birthdays. And again, I did not take her up on that offer, right? So I'm saying I have a different perspective on things. Then I had a serious relationship, which it came about as a challenge to me, my self-conception, and it was like a self-proof thing. It's a long story, right? But it was a very physical relationship, and that was it, right? And it had its time, and this is where this term transition comes from. It was a beautiful thing. We transitioned, and it was just wonderful. Now, you're in that right? I had this right at the end of my last year, right? Just before finals, we got into this relationship. Anyway, it's a wonderful story, but too long to share now. So now we transitioned, and now I'm not with anybody. And then I started thinking about things, as is my habit, right? And I looked at potentially dating a little bit here and there. But at that point, my ability to perceive, to know people and perceive and see where things are going was at a very deep level already, right? A very practiced level. I've been doing this all my life, right? And so when I met somebody that I liked, and I could clearly see where it was going, and I could clearly see there's no future here. And I never dated when there was no potential future. Furthermore, right now, this is from age 18, right? And as anybody will attest, from age 18, to not be in a relationship, this is kind of a big deal. It's like all your hormones, everything is pushing into that. For 6 years, I waited. I said to my friends, I said, sooner or later, the right woman will come walking into my life. Those exact words. Yeah. 6 years I waited, and I was very conscious, and I had this big discussion with my friends. Say, what are you waiting for? Because we did this, right? We did the search for the spiritual woman. I have a whole long post about this, a very long story. We even, I made up a whole questionnaire. It was called Crow Inquires, talking about, curiosity, and it was a wonderful mechanism for sorting people, right, and getting to know people, right. It's a long story to explain. It was really cool. I mean, that actually would be very cool in a business sense, like in HR. Anyway, so this was this quest for the spiritual woman, and I've got it written down exactly what I meant by spiritual woman. I said, well, I'll wait. Sooner or later, the right person will come walking into my life. And that's exactly what happened, right? It did happen. And then from there, that was magical. Now, right person, for many reasons, it's right. Doesn't necessarily mean it's what you always think our ideal, because we have fantasies. The universe gives you what's right for you, and right and good and nice doesn't always coincide, right? And then with that person, together for decades, and they're the one who moved to their own life, and it's all wonderful. And that same intent, though, that I had for this thing, it never left me, of course. Yeah. And then Beena comes into my life, right? So Beena really fulfills what I had intended, at least when I was more clear about precisely what was needed. When we have intents, we have to be careful when we don't have clarity of intent, yes? Or when we're unable to. I tried as best I could, but you don't have the necessariness to intend what you want. So all I can say is, Joseph, on that point of saying that, in terms of a spirit warrior coming into your life, at least as a woman, right, as a partner potentially, or somebody that you can share with, is something that you have to build, you have to create with your will, with your intent, and with your patience. And in Dictionary of Power, in Language of Conceptuality, in Way of Impeccability, patience is not waiting. Patience is building. It is building over time. We don't have enough power to bring it right away, but incrementally we can build, we can build. It's like, building a house. You build it one brick at a time if you're building it on your own. Yeah, well, assuming you build with bricks. I don't know. In America, they don't really use bricks, but where I came from, there were no doll houses of the light wood and cardboard and whatever, right? It's all bricks. But anyway, so my point is, if you're building your own house, you're building it one little part at a time. And when you think of patience that way, you build it. Like in those 6 years, I stuck with this, and I obviously got a lot of grief from it. And, my mother and my sister thought I was gay. Not that I have any problem with thinking that. I think it's not an issue for me, but they could not comprehend what I was about. Yeah? And that's a big issue. When people can't comprehend, they put it into a box that makes sense to them, and they get it all wrong. All right, whatever. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's just, there's some part on my love life, and of course my relationship with Beena, Beena's on the other side of the world. It's a very different relationship. Does it matter? Is it
Okay,
magical? Yes. Is there
uh,
tons of mourners? Yes. Does the rest matter?
okay.
No.
Just
Right,
just
Beena?
uh, just something I yes, just something I want to make it more clear and obvious. that I don't know about what is your intent, Joseph. And you were saying that, okay, I was hoping for a woman, like, okay, yes, waiting for that. This is typically, I'm not assuming, but this is typically for the relationship as a husband and wife, like, okay, as partners. And
Right,
this is
right.
something, yes, people have this, of course. Um, and Syl also, he, I think that, okay, he says that specifically because he mentioned that a woman, a right woman, or a spiritual woman will come into my life. I don't know that it was in his
Yeah,
mind at that time that, okay, going to be as partners or as husband or wife. But because it happens, so it was kind of like, in my thinking, in my understanding, it was kind of like a default thinking that when we say something like, okay, I want, a woman can come as a friend, a woman can come as as your bestie, a woman can come, of course, as your
exactly,
business partner, a
exactly.
woman can come in any way. But you guys said that,
Yeah,
so I assume that, okay, you had that intent. In me, me being here, and of course in the relationship I have with Syl, this is not a
yeah.
love kind of like a typical relationship. We are best friends, yes,
But
and
there's
of
plenty
course,
love in our relationship, yes?
yes, like every
Not
other
devoid of
relationship,
love.
yes. Oh
Right,
yes, like
right.
every other
There's
relationship
plenty
we have.
love. I
So
mean, I
yes,
love
this is
Beena
not.
dearly, dearly,
Oh
dearly,
yes,
dearly, and I tell
oh
her
yes,
so every day.
oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. And this is something I'm just making it clear because it is about intent and the clarity of intent. Because when you are saying that, okay, right
Yeah,
person will come into, it can come in any possible way. It can
exactly,
come as your employee. It
exactly.
can come.
That was
It
the
can come
key.
as your boss.
That was the key to
So
let it be
and we,
appropriate. Yeah.
but because we have some default thinking that, okay, oh, I was thinking about a love
Hmm.
relationship, so then of course we miss a lot. So like right
Correct,
now, okay, when Syl says
correct.
that, okay, he had a relationship and it was manifested exactly, I personally feel that people and situations come in our life, possibilities come in our life exactly as who we are at that point. I was not ready
Yeah,
for way of impeccability 5 years ago or 6 years ago, but I was ready at that particular moment to understand that. So I
yeah,
was not ready for to have a friendship with Syl at like, okay, 10 years ago. Completely not. I was too ambitious. I was in doing in my life. I had no idea about these things. And I was okay. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing exactly. But anyway, this was not my idea. So when the person came into his life, like Syl, when he was sharing, she was perfect for that situation. No, nothing to regret about,
exactly,
nothing to
exactly,
feel that, okay,
exactly,
because he was also there.
exactly.
He
She
was
was
also there.
the right person. And that's what I said. Sooner or later, the right person would come walking into my life. Or the right woman,
Exactly.
I said, not person,
Oh
the
yes,
right
you said
woman.
that
She
woman.
was the
Yes,
right
as
woman.
far as I remember.
Right.
Yes, so she was a right
Right,
woman.
right woman. Yeah, not ideal,
Yes,
right.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
she
and
was
it's
right.
very
And
important
and
the difference. And you
and
know, there's,
yeah.
I mean, my life in our relationship was very wild in the sense of
Mm,
non-ordinary. Yes, I mean we ended up in the desert and we came here and we were questing. I was always on a quest for moreness, and that's not everybody's going to go on a quest with you. Just going to go with you into the middle of nowhere. And that was she was the right woman. She was able to do that. Yeah. Uh,
exactly.
I, I,
Exactly.
I haven't really met somebody else who would have been willing to do that that I know of, you know, or at least not do it without severe stress internally, right? You know, somebody
Mm.
might go out of love, but they would not have enjoyed it. She was very adventurous in that sense, yeah. So that's
Oh,
the
yes. So
rightness of it.
it was right. It was appropriate at that time. And
Exactly,
of course,
exactly.
who knows who will come, of course, later on in our life.
Yeah,
So it is an open thing. Then
yeah,
that
yeah,
this understanding is the real detachment. Okay, detachment
yeah.
concept for me. That you understand things, that things are happening for good, of course, for a bigger good,
Oh
and
yes,
also
oh yes.
appropriate. And having
It's
this
all
understanding and
about the
not having
enhancement
any
and
negative,
development of awareness.
and not having any association of like, okay, negative association with that person or that situation, because
Exactly.
in my life a situation happened
Exactly.
and I took it as a horrible, most negative thing ever.
Yeah.
That was something like really, it ruined everything in my life at that
Yeah.
time. And I was because I was feeling really embarrassed in front of my family because they invested a lot, and everything was lost. And I was like, okay,
Right.
yes,
Right.
I was almost 100% sure that things are going to be in that particular way. My career will be
Yeah.
like this, that. And
Yeah.
suddenly
Yeah.
everything is snatched away from, like really ripped off. And I was like, I was really broken. For 2 years I was just sitting in my home. But that negative situation which I was considering as negative, and I was keeping it as a badge of honor for myself, that whatever I'm not doing is because of this, and I'm the victim of this horrible thing. See how great I am, that I'm still alive and I'm still doing something. I was keeping it
Exactly.
as a shield, as a reason for all the excuses I was creating for myself to not doing anything. For 2 years, this is how I
Very
was.
powerful, Beena.
So
Very
this,
powerful. Very, very
and
powerful.
now, and of course after doing, that's why I always keep repeating this, because I got such value from way of impeccability. That was the
Yes.
perspective shifting for me. And gradually,
Oh
it
yeah.
doesn't
Oh
happen
yeah.
in that like, okay, miraculous way and Syl said something and it resolved. No, Syl was keep saying, and I was like sharing different perspective, and I was negating the sorry,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
sorry, no, because I was assuming that he don't
Yeah.
understand, because it is personal to me. He is not in this living in this country. He don't understand that, okay, because
Yeah.
he was always a topper. So how could he understand those things which you were, okay, being like, okay, really a topper, but then you got everything out. So I was continuously negating all the different perspectives, just because I was assuming that he don't understand. He have no idea. He has no idea at all that what I went through. This was the understanding. But it was my ego,
Yeah.
that I was assuming things about him also on his behalf, like, okay,
Mm.
no, I don't, you don't, you don't know. Actually, I was not understanding. Actually, I was not being aware of.
Yeah.
I was not letting it go. And then, of course, gradually, once the detachment thing, and of course, other concepts came into my life, and then I realized that that was the most wonderful thing ever.
Yeah.
Literally, the most
Yeah.
wonderful thing ever happened to me. I was keep insisting
Yeah.
on something, and universe was trying to give me signs and moments and everything. But I was keep resisting that, oh no, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to do. But then universe doesn't have any chances left. Then they have to
Right.
really eject me, really forcefully eject me from that. And that was the thing. And those angels, which I
Very
was
powerful,
really
Beena.
cursing them, they were the angels in my life. They really become part of it, and they took all the blame and then create a situation for me to get out of that situation. And then I met a like really a wonderful world. This is what I say. That's why I say that Facebook is my school, it's my college, it's my university, it is my hideout, it is my home, it is everything. Because at Facebook, I met such a wonderful, not only people, but the whole new world opens up for me. And this is who I am today. And I see that, okay, I can compare myself with others sometimes, that, okay, just to remind myself that how privileged I am, how universe and people and situations were being so generous with me. So grateful. And now I'm feel always feel grateful. I am living a wonderful life. People even just not being able
Yes.
to think about this thing. And I'm the one here. So sometimes are intense. That was the most horrible thing. Now this is the most wonderful thing for me. So perspective
Wonderful, Beena.
shifting is a
Wonderful.
magic
Let
that
me
we
just
all
read
have.
a couple more comments from Joseph there,
Oh
just to
yes.
finish it. Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yeah, just
please,
to
please.
be conclusive. Yeah.
Oh yes,
Let me
please.
just finish comment here while I'm multitasking a little bit. But anyway, that's just how we do. Multitasking is very powerful. All right. So Joseph also said, still, I realize the path of warriorhood is, hey, come on, chat, don't get in my way here. The path of warriorhood is about pointing us in a certain direction towards growth and wholeness, or towards moreness, exactly. Never attaining completely, but always striving to sharpen our swords on life itself. So when we think of it as moreness, that's the magic of moreness, and why moreness is so transformative a concept. Because moreness doesn't mean you're always getting to something and you never quite attain it, which is sort of implied in your comment there. Moreness means what I have is fantastic, but there's also more. And when you get into this understanding, then you get to be able to say about yourself, I am enough. And I am also more, both together, not an either or,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
when we are traveling this path, we have joy, we have fun, and we are experiencing the moreness, and it's fantastic. But we know there's other moreness. We're not chasing it, we're not pursuing it because we're not desperate, we're not needy, right? We're not lacking, we're not insecure. We are completely secure. And we have the best of both worlds. Right? This is an ideal way of going about it, which is why moreness is so profound as a conception. I'm going to put together a TED talk on moreness as a world-changing conception. Can we change the world? Really, really change the world? That would be the topic. That's how I'll start my TED talk. And then, well, how would you actually go about doing this? Well, can you change the world with a conception? Which conception? And I'll go through all the different ones, like appropriateness. Yes, it's a wonderful conception, but it doesn't have a grab to it. It's not. But moreness does have that, right? So moreness really changes this. Very big shift in the thinking, right? We're not chasing something and never getting there. We're always already in the moreness. But there's always more, right? There's always more to moreness. And then Joseph also says, applications of the way of a spirit warrior, examples from our own lives. Most illustrative, it would be. Yes, Yoda. I hope I shared some. My that, you know, my waiting, that patience, that deliberateness. I mean, this was a very, very serious act on my part. I cannot tell you that 6 years at that time was like 60 years. Okay, it was a lifetime of waiting. Really, that's what it felt like. Right? But I never let go. I had unbending intent. Yeah. So that's the application right there. And this is why I say, don't call me intellectual. There was nothing intellectual about me saying sooner or later the right woman will come walking into my life. No, this was application, application, application. And the discipline it took not to go dating. I know anybody who's been an 18-year-old, 18 to 24-year-old male will know what that means. Yes, it was a really profound, very big deal, not easy in the least. But but I understood that there was no other choice, and I cannot do stupid things that are pointless, and I can't do things for my own gratification that aren't right. My integrity just would not allow me. So I couldn't go and date people, and I know it's going to be a short-term thing and have a bit of fun and move on. Can't do that. Well, I couldn't do that. It's not what I wanted, right? So maybe, but anyway, Joseph says, if your philosophy, pathway, paradigm won't grow corn, you're getting above your raising by the universe. Again, that growing corn, that's application, right? So every single thing, way of impeccability, is about application. Without application, it's all meaningless. Every single thing we do, always, always, always about application. Yeah. Joseph
Okay,
has one
just
last
want to
question
add
for
some.
Bina.
Oh, yes, please.
Go ahead,
Yes,
Bina.
please. No, no, please
Oh,
do ask first.
yeah. Would she say, thank you, Spirit Warrior, for treating me with great strategy?
Yes,
Of course. Of course. Because
yes.
strategy doesn't mean cold. Again, associations. One of the most profound conceptions in language of conceptuality and in way of impeccability. There's a whole session on it. And this is
Okay,
association
I can
management, right?
I can give you another
Association management.
example of my mother. Okay, of my mother again. She is a wonderful strategist, I can say that, because
Yeah,
what she did, she's not into someone who always talk about do this and do that. No, she's not like this. So
yeah,
because my father was also not like this. So my mother, very few lessons we can count on fingers, and still will have more uh, space to go. But one of the major or few lessons she gave, she says that, okay, do whatever you want to do in life. Just do whatever you want to do in your life. And she specifically
Right.
mentioned that, okay, or if you want to do robbery, you want to kidnap something, even if you want to murder something, do someone like, okay, really do whatever you. And we were like, as kids we were like really mouth open, we
Like,
were listening to her, because
what, right?
she's a very serious woman, yeah,
She
really very
freaked your
serious.
brains out. She freaked your
Oh
brains out.
yes.
But there's a
And she
but coming.
says,
There's a but coming. So wait for the
yes, she
but.
says, do whatever you want to do in your life. And we were
And the
like,
kids are,
oh.
yes,
And then
really.
she says, oh, the list goes on, like, okay, the robbery and the kidnap and the murder. And we were like, seriously, our eyes were wide open, and we were looking at each other,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
she's
yeah.
doing now. And we were like, really? And she says, really? Okay, but come and share with me, and never ever lie. Never ever lie to me. And it was
There
like,
you go.
seriously, mama, who is going to do a robbery and come and tell you? Like, literally. And we were like, okay, now she is a strategist, because she says that, take responsibility. If you cannot take responsibility of anything, don't do this. Because
But she gave you freedom at the same
in the
time.
world,
She
how in the
leveraged
world
your
I can plan
integrity.
it, literally, how can I plan a robbery and tell mama that, oh, I'm going to do this? Literally?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I
It's
can
so
do
brilliant.
anything. I
So
cannot
brilliant.
do anything
So
negative.
brilliant. Yeah.
So the spirit warrior can be like, oh, yes, I can be grateful with them, because
Yeah.
I'm generally, I want to be treated all the time nicely, not always good, like, okay, yes, not only good, but nicely also. I'm a person,
Right.
I
Right. Right.
demand this, that it has to be nice, not only good, but nice. Harsh
Oh,
behaviors, harsh talk,
yeah.
heated arguments is something really make me feel sad and sick in my stomach, like, what's going on? I can do that too. It's not like I don't have a potential. No, I can do that also, but I don't like it. I
Yeah.
somehow I am a princess. I want to be treated nicely all the time. This is how I,
Princess of
yes.
the universe. Princess of the
Yes.
universe.
So yes, I would always say that, because I understand my mother is like a spirit warrior. Yes, she
Oh,
do
yeah.
treat us very strategically. She's
Right.
she's
Right.
she's not like
I
always
mean, the
like, okay, kissing you and
genius.
hugging you type of
Yeah.
one. But
Yeah. The
yes,
genius
yes,
of that point to give your children the freedom to do anything they want. But by implication, you have to kind of be thoughtful about it. Okay, I can do what I want, but I got to tell mama, which means I have to justify it. And now,
yes.
well, all of those things become idiotic. How do you justify doing it? It's fantastic,
Exactly.
incredible strategy. I'm just
Yes.
super brilliant. Right? So
Yes.
again,
Yes.
in a personal relationship, Joseph, I mean, your longer theme, if you look and you read all of your comments in totality, they are struggling with this understanding that detachment is cold and passionless and all that, and joyless, but not so, right? Desire is, like I said, it's a possessiveness. You can really love things and enjoy them and be very passionate about enjoying them, but do so without that possessiveness, that greediness, that owningness, that neediness, right? And so when you make this distinction, everything changes. And when you realize that when we are talking non-attachment as a better term, when we are talking this strategy, there's a strategy to love, there's a strategy to joy. It's a sensibility. Strategy is kind of a cold term, and a lot of people don't like this word strategy because they equate it with manipulation. No, when you equate strategy with sensibility, sobriety, this is how are you not going to be sensible when it comes to being passionate and joyful and loving things? You have to. Moreness is all about constantly being immersed in joy, in just having things come your way that really light you up, right? Moreness, like we said in the Mourner show, in the first one, which I'll post it on Facebook soon. We went all about what is moreness. And one of the understandings of moreness is about what you really, 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 really want in your life. When you get that, it lights you up, it fills you, it's fulfilling, it's transformative. and it's the best thing ever. Yeah, that's moreness. That's moreness. And you can have this in your relationships too. But you need to have that independence of being. And the moment you attached, which is clingy and needy and desperate and all this other stuff, possessive, no, that's no good. That's going to doom your relationship before it even starts. The universe will not put you in touch with somebody if you're not ready. Yeah. Well, it can happen. I shouldn't say this. There's no absolutes. I've seen it happen, and it was a great tragedy. The people realized they got what they wanted because they intended it very specifically, and they got precisely what they intended. But then they weren't able to handle it, and then it went away.
Oh
It didn't come back again.
yes. Oh
So
yes.
very sad,
Oh yes.
very very sad, right? So be careful of what you
Just
intend. Yeah,
just a fun thing, Sil.
yeah.
One of my friend specifically mentioned that okay, oh, I want a person in my life with deep blue eyes,
Oh,
and she got that,
yeah,
and that person was like really have a very
yeah.
bad body odor.
They had blue eyes, but they smelled like blue cheese, right?
Yeah. So this is just for so for the fun sake that
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have to
Be
be very
careful of what
careful
you
about.
intend, precisely. That's
Yes,
why
those
clarity of intent, module one, session one of wave impeccability is crucial. Absolutely crucial.
yes,
Absolutely crucial.
yes. Those blue eyes, a dark, tall, handsome guy,
Yeah,
or and slim and beautiful and fair and blonde girl and all sort of things.
yeah, yeah.
They
No,
can be, of course. I'm not saying that in a derogatory way.
yeah,
They
yeah.
can be, yes, of course, they are beautiful, and of course,
Right.
it is good to have that also. But these are things that can be changed at any moment. It can be
Yeah,
changed, and you can
yeah,
get tired of. Like you like blue eyes now, you can like green eyes, or you can like brown eyes, or you can like anything there. So
yeah,
it is
yeah.
not how the person makes you feel is the biggest deal. Do you
Yeah.
feel respected? Do you feel valued? Do you
Trusted.
feel that okay, really growing together with him or her? That is the biggest deal.
Right. With
So
them.
I
Yeah.
suggested, though I was very young for that, but I still suggested that always look for the appropriate
Hmm.
energy. If your energy is compatible, then of course a person can be short or tall or whatever. You
Mourners.
will
Look
be
for the
very
mourners.
happy.
Look for the
You will be
mourners.
very
Yeah.
happy with them. So yes, okay. Anyway, long
Wonderful.
things.
Real quick, I just want to make a point. I shared that story of me. When I
Hmm.
said the right woman, that was capital R right.
Oh yes.
Rightness was for me from day go was always, always essentially critically important. This term rightness, which later I shifted it to impeccability, right? Rightness. It
Mm.
means the same. And the reason I got away from rightness as a power conception is because it has that moralistic element to it, and it's connected to beliefs. And wave impeccability's got nothing to do with beliefs. It's about self-evident sensibilities. But I want to make the point, and I struggle to share my stories because it's like if you listen to it from the superiority paradigm, yeah, it sounds like I'm being very self-promotional and saying how wonderful I was. No. Why? Because I struggled with this. People say, well, how did you come to this idea? Where did you get this from? They always wanted to insist that I got it from somewhere. I didn't get it from anywhere. I created it for myself, right? And then I said, well, where did it start? Where did it start? It started right now. What I understood as a boy is connected to what I'm understanding now. Somehow, in some way, either there was a loop around and I'm doing it again, or, in the understanding of time that we live in a singularity, there is no time. Somehow I understood in a less clear way, right? But my boyness understood the essence without the language of things like rightness and appropriateness. That first incident where I had the social side and the private side, that was about appropriateness. That was my understanding at the time, right? And so I can only say in some way those understandings are connected to my entire life's passion, my entire life's path, in some way that I have no idea how, but that's it. it's not like I was some special kid. No, I work very, very hard for these understandings because I think them through to the end and I perspective shift to multiple perspectives. I do a lot of work on it and it just pop out of nowhere, right? But that work is because I truly, truly understand it. Somehow it seems to have this backward effect in time. I don't know how else to explain it, Joseph. That's all I'm saying is that why I keep saying I'm not a usual person. And, I don't feel any kind of pride or ego in it. It just was what it was. It was just, for me, the application of sensibility was just kind of right? And that was it. There's nothing more to it than that. But, when you understand this from a path and strategy too, strategy, without strategy, we just dead in the water, right? I think that's the Don Juan quote, if I remember correctly. But it doesn't matter, it's my own now because you got to make the things your own. So strategy was always crucially. I mean, I was exceedingly skilled in strategy long before I came across Don Juan. I mean, that's how I survived at school. Yeah, I never got into trouble. I never had issues with bullies and all that because I was really very good at strategy and also understanding the psychology of people. Yeah. So, with bullies especially. So, and I had a lot of it. I was kind of, the bright young man, and when you stand out a bit, you become a target, right? And I had an older brother and his friends, so it didn't matter. Didn't matter. Anyway, strategy. It got me out of a lot of trouble. But I think that I understood things then that I've come to understand now because of a lot of work, and it has a retroactive effect in some way. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know what to tell you, but like I said, I don't think it's anything special, at least not to me. It just is what it is, right? I mean, anybody can get to this understanding of things. You just got to work at it, which I did all my life. I've just been working at it. People are expert at many different things, or no, doesn't matter. It just happens to be. This is where I put my time and energy on, and I've always been focused on it all my life. Unrelentingly so. Anyway, I just wanted to make that little point there. Any closing points, Beena? Then we go.
No, thank you so much, Joseph. And we will continue.
Oh,
We can
yes,
discuss, of course,
absolutely.
always,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah, if you
asking
have
this
more
question gives
questions. Yeah,
again, yes,
yeah,
more clarity, of course, about your own
yeah,
understanding. So questions are love
yeah.
notes from the universe for us, and we just love to
Yes,
receive
we
all the
love
questions because
questions. We love questions.
you give me and provide me this opportunity to make it
Yes.
more clear for myself. I always
Yeah,
consider
yeah,
that as,
yeah,
and thank
yeah,
you so much for
yeah.
that. And thank you so much, everyone, for
Right.
joining us. We will see you guys tomorrow. Before going, as always, please do pay attention to your online and offline algorithms because they are the same actually. Wherever you are going
Yeah.
to pay attention, universe is going to maximize it. Please do
Oh,
pay
yeah.
attention
Oh, yeah.
wisely because this is the new currency. Attention is the new currency. Please invest your currency
Critical.
wisely.
Critical.
And okay, yes, be really mindful about that,
Yeah,
where you are
yeah, yeah.
investing, because it is going to be maximized, compound in your life. So if it is
Yeah,
just randomness, the randomness will come. So you will not get
yeah.
exactly what you really want, really, really, truly
There
want in
you
your
go.
life. You will get random
There you
things.
go.
And if you are going to make deliberate choices, you will get deliberate results and outcomes also. So thank you
There
so
you
much for
go.
joining us.
There
We
you
will
go.
see you guys
Yeah,
tomorrow,
yeah, yeah.
same time.
Lots more to talk
Bye
about
for
on
now.
this, Joseph. Again, it
Oh
takes
yes,
time,
yes, yes.
especially when our conceptions that we've had all our lives, when we realize those conceptions aren't serving us anymore and we need to shift them, that takes time because of habit, right? It's you're in the habit of thinking and associating things like detachment, associating it with coldness and the non-enjoyment and passionless, right? But then when you think about it, okay, to me, rather than try and change that, I just simply use a new conception. Right? That's why you don't hear me use this word detachment. It's got too much baggage. All right. On that note, we'll go, and we'll see you.
Yes.
We will not see you tomorrow because we
Uh,
do the TV show, and because of
oh,
the
okay.
TV show, it's at 7 o'clock in the evening. It's 7 o'clock in the morning for Bina, which means she has to get up very early, which means she has to go to sleep very early, and so basically she has to go
Oh,
to sleep
yes.
when we
Oh,
would do
thank you
the
so.
live tomorrow. So we won't be there tomorrow, right? So Thursdays we won't be
Okay.
doing Thursdays from now onwards. We might do
Oh, okay.
Saturdays instead and have Thursdays be our off
Oh,
day, but we need
yes.
Saturdays for
Yes.
our work stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. All right. Just so you
Oh,
know, we won't be
yes.
here tomorrow. All right. We will not. But Friday. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye,
Okay. Thank
everybody.
you so much,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye for now.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Let's end everything.